Hello, I'm Dr. Klodt, and here is your primer on using MLA formatting for your written work in my courses this semester. The MLA is the Modern Languages Association, a nonprofit organization that publishes guidelines for formatting academic research. These guidelines are collected in the MLA Handbook, currently in its 9th edition. In class, I will show you how to access the MLA Handbook. There are other academic formatting styles in different disciplines, which may raise some logical questions, such as, why do we use academic formatting styles? What is their purpose? Academic formatting styles are a set of common standards so that scholars can easily read and understand each other's work, and can easily identify and consult the sources that the writer used. First, let's look at formatting the page. As you can see, all margins are 1 inch on all sides of the page. In the top right, 1/2 inch from the top of the page, include your last name and page number, starting with the first page and numbering sequentially each of the following pages. Note that every modern word processor offers this feature. In the top left, write your name, your professor's name, class, and date you submitted your writing. On the next line, center the title of your essay. Note that your essay is double-spaced all the way through. Do not skip lines between header and title, or between title and the text of the paper. There are no blank lines in an MLA formatted essay. Use citations to credit the authors and materials you used to construct your ideas and arguments. With properly formatted citations, other scholars can build on your ideas and, over time, can advance our knowledge and understanding of the humanities. Note that if you do not cite a source, even if you inadvertently omit a source, you are committing plagiarism. When you summarize, paraphrase, or quote another author's material, you must cite the source. If the idea comes from another person, cite it. When in doubt, cite it. There are 2 types of citations: parenthetical citations in the text of your paper, and the works cited at the end of your paper. Let's look at parenthetical citations. In these examples, the writer is summarizing the ideas found in a book by Maidan Sarap. In the first example, the first part of the sentence is the writer's original idea. Through his duplicate, time-traveling selves, Hector's identity quickly and easily shifts from bumbling suburbanite to calculating murderer. The writer then develops the idea by summarizing Maidan Sarap's theory of identity in the second part of the sentence, which reflects the theory that identity is no longer an inherent quality, but rather a process. The writer found this idea on page 14 of Maidan Sarap's book. So, the parenthetical citation is an open parentheses, the author's last name, 1 space, the page number or numbers where the idea first appears, then close parentheses, and finally a period outside the parentheses to end the sentence. A variation is when the writer uses the author's name in the sentence itself, which reflects Maidan Sarap's theory that identity is no longer an inherent quality, but rather a process. Then, the parenthetical citation is an open parentheses, the page number or numbers where the idea first appears, close parentheses, and finally a period outside the parentheses to end the sentence. A direct quotation, using an author's exact words, follows a similar process. Here, the writer is citing Francesco Cassetti. Put quotation marks around the quotation. Then, as you would expect, The parenthetical citation is open parentheses, the author's last name, one space, the page number or numbers where the idea first appears, then close parentheses, a period outside the parentheses to end the sentence. Here's how to format parenthetical citations if you are using two or more sources from the same author. For example, on this page we see the writer is quoting from two different sources by Zygmunt Bauman. One is an article titled From Pilgrim to Tourist, or A Short History of Identity. The other is a book titled Postmodernity and Its Discontents. You can see these sources at the end of this video in the Works Cited page. So, the first quotation is from Bauman's article. As you would expect, the quotation, citing the author's exact words, appears in quotation marks. Then, within the standard parenthetical citation, the writer uses a key word from the title of the article. The title is From Pilgrim to Tourist, or A Short History of Identity. So the writer used the first noun, pilgrim, from the article's title to distinguish it from other sources by Zygmunt Bauman in the same paper. Since From Pilgrim to Tourist, or A Short History of Identity is an article, its title is in quotation marks. When quoting from two sources by the same author, add a comma after the author's name to the parenthetical citation. So, open parentheses, Bauman, comma, Pilgrim in quotation marks, the page number, close parentheses, and then the punctuation. Then, the second source by Zygmunt Bauman is a book titled Postmodernity and Its Discontents. Since it is a book, its title is italicized. The writer uses a key word from the title, postmodernity, to distinguish it from Bauman's article cited above. Note that you only include a key word from the title if, and only if, you are citing two or more sources by the same author in one paper. If you only cite one source by an author in your paper, only include the last name and page number in the parenthetical citation. Finally, if your citation is more than 4 lines long, the formatting changes. From the 1-inch margin, indent an additional 1/2 inch. There are no quotation marks. The period comes at the end of the quotation. There is no punctuation after the parenthetical citation. Again, you 1/2 inch indent quotations only if they are more than 4 lines long. So to review, in parenthetical citations, generally there is no punctuation between the author's name and page number. However, as we saw above, to cite multiple sources by the same author in the same essay, use a comma between the author's name and the source. Use commas to cite non-consecutive pages from one source. Similarly, use commas to separate the titles of multiple sources by the same author in the same parenthetical citation. To cite a location other than a page number, such as a paragraph or chapter, use a comma to separate the author or source from the location. Use semicolons to separate multiple sources by different authors in the same parenthetical citation. Use a semicolon to specify how you altered the cited text, such as italicizing a word in the sentence to emphasize an important idea, or to indicate an original translation. For time-based media like audio, video, television episodes, and film, in parentheses, cite the time code or time span on your media player in hours, minutes, seconds, with no spaces between colons and numbers. Here's the template for formatting your works cited. If you always use this template, you will always produce correct entries on your Works Cited page. You can download this template from our class website. Please note the punctuation marks on the template, which are reproduced in red on the left. You must use this exact punctuation for your Works Cited entries to be correct. Let's see an example of a book citation. Open the book to the publication information pages, where you see the title, author, publisher, and publication year. Let's plug that information into the template. On line 1, we have the author's last name, comma, first name, period. On line 2, the title of the book, followed by a period. Since it is a book, the title is italicized. And MLA calls this next part of the template a container, which is a strange term, but think of it as where this information is stored. In this case, it's stored in a book. We omit irrelevant information and would go to line 7, the publisher, followed by a comma. Note that for university presses, there are common abbreviations that are acceptable. U for university, P for press. On line 8, we put the publication date, followed by a comma. And on line 9, the publication location is no longer required for books in the latest edition of the MLA Handbook. So, take the elements out of the template with their punctuation, and you get the bibliographical reference for your Works Cited page. Serap, comma, Maidan, period. Italicize the title, Identity, Culture, and the Postmodern World, period. U of Georgia P, comma, 1996, period. Pay careful attention to the punctuation. You must use these exact punctuation marks for your Works Cited entry to be correct. Let's see an example from an article published in an academic journal. Here we are searching in the MLA International Bibliography Database. In addition to the MLA Formatting Guide, MLA also maintains this database of sources in the humanities. The name of the database comes after the word searching at the top. Note the database is not EBSCOhost. If the database offers an electronic address, use the DOI, the Digital Object Identifier. URLs and website addresses may change or move. You are undoubtedly familiar with the 404 not found error in a web browser. However, the DOI will always stay the same, in theory at least. So, plug the elements into the template. Note the careful use of punctuation on each line. Also note the two containers. This article was published in Cinema Journal, the first container, and the PDF of this article was accessed from the MLA International Bibliography Database, which is the second container. Pull the elements out of the template with their punctuation, and you get the bibliographical reference for your Works Cited page. The author first, McGowan, comma, Todd, period. Quotation for the article title, quotation Looking for the Gaze, Lacanian Film Theory and its Vicissitudes, period, end quotation. Italicized, Cinema Journal, comma, Volume 42, comma, number 3, comma, 2003, comma, PP for the pages of this journal article, so PP 27 through 47, period. Then the second container, italicized, MLA International Bibliography, comma, the DOI, and finally a period. Pay careful attention to the punctuation. You must use these exact punctuation marks for your works cited entry to be correct. Here is an article from the website of the Spanish newspaper El País. I've identified the publication title, the article title, the author, and the date. Plug these elements into the template. Here, there is only one container, since we accessed this article directly from the El País website. There is no DOI for this article, so we use the URL. Pull the elements out of the template with their punctuation, and you get the bibliographical reference for your works cited page. The author first, Pérez Lanzac, Carmen, period. Open quote, Generación ni mil eurista, period, close quote. Italicized El País, comma, the date, comma, and the URL, period. Pay careful attention to the punctuation. You must use these exact punctuation marks for your works cited entry to be correct. If you were so inclined, you could cite the syllabus for my Honors 101 course. Plug the elements into the template, being careful to use the correct punctuation. Pull the elements out of the template with their punctuation, and you get the bibliographical reference for your works cited page. Pay careful attention to the punctuation. You must use these exact punctuation marks for your works cited entry to be correct. Finally, compile all of your sources on the Works Cited page. It is the last page of your document. Write Works Cited centered on the page. All lines are double spaced. Do not put a blank line after Works Cited. Alphabetize your sources by the author's last name. Note that you use a hanging indent. The first line is not indented. It extends to the left 1-inch margin. But the second, third, fourth, and all other lines of the bibliographical reference are indented 1/2 inch. Note also, when citing multiple works by the same author, the first work has the author's name, last name, comma, first name, period. Other works by the same author use 3 dashes and a period, which refers you to the previous full name. You then alphabetize by the name of the book or article by that same author. As you can see, academic formatting styles, be it the MLA or other styles you may work with during your college career, are all about details. As a writer, you must show that you can master these details. Of course, with practice, this formatting becomes second nature. As always, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Good luck.